Dante brings us into contact with the solar radiance of Apollo, which Plato explicates in connection to the philosopher, to the relationship between the hero Socrates and the god Apollo, of the vision of the Theoria, or the pilgrim to the other land, who, however, may not be Socrates lost in thought, who must then, like the poet, um, bring forward a vision to us, allow us, the hearer, to visualize as best we can what we are merely getting as thoughts or words, but as an attempt to communicate between the two realms. Dante, I give the first line in Italian just because the translations are so variegated, it's slightly interesting. La gloria di colui che tutto muove per l'universo penetrata. The all-mover's glory penetrates through the universe and regloweth in one region more and less in another. So some of the other translations say, instead of the all-mover, which is clearly the person who translated or interpreted this word colui once, which could have been translated as his, or one's, or somehow, wants to signal Aristotle's prime mover, which, when synthesized with the God of the Hebrews in through as it was by the Christians, becomes this figure that we then see in medieval piety and in Dante's vision. The other translations say something like the glory of him, which it would be more familiar in a Bible as speaking of the biblical God, the glory of him who moves everything, etc., etc. So to continue, in that heaven which most receiveth of his light have I been, and have seen things which whoso descendeth from up there hath nor knowledge nor power to retell. So think of the mind, nous, envisaging things which then it would only, with meager power, but aided by Apollo, who leads the muses. In this case, we're talking about the wisdom of a poet rather than of Socrates, of a philosopher, having received the light, but now only in a weaker form being able to present these imperishable forms to we who are in the perishable world. And at the same time, there's this the metaphor of the religious pilgrim, which was what the Theoria was before Plato and others took hold of it, having gone to historically, which would mean they would travel to a nearby city or someplace, to Thrace or so, or in the beginning of the Politeia, Socrates going down to the Piraea to see the Thracian parallel of Artemis who plays a role in Heidegger. The Thracian god is identified with Artemis, who Socrates has just visited when he encounters those who carry him off to conversation at the beginning of the Politeia. Let's continue on with the Divine Comedy. So the opening lines of the Divine Comedy. Because as it draweth nigh to its desire, our intellect sinketh so deep that memory cannot go back unto the track. Nonetheless, natheless, whatever of the holy realm I had the power to treasure in my memory shall now be matter of my song. Okay, so we're looking at this, of course, in comparison to Russell's vision of things. Much is granted there which is not granted here to our powers in virtue of the place made as proper to the human race. All things whatever observe a mutual order, and this the form that maketh the universe like unto God. Let's look a little bit further. Gazing upon his Son, which the love which the one and the other eternally breathe forth, the primal and ineffable worth is the mystery of the Trinity, made whatever circleth through mind or space with so great order, that whoso looketh on it may not be without some taste of him. Then, reader, raise with me thy sight to the exalted wheels, direct to that part where the one moment smiteth on the other, and amorously there begin to gaze upon the Master's art, who within him so loveth it, that never doth he part his eyes from it. Slightly different part in the passage. This breath, the fire towards the moon, this is the mover in the hearts of things that die. This doth draw the earth together and unite it, nor only the creatures that lack intelligence doth this bow shoot, but those that have both intellect and love. So we can see here a vision of the inner workings of each being as connected by this first mover, or the divine mover, which in Aristotle is an unpersonal God, but it becomes a personal God with the Christian epoch.